Okay, here we are once again.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the book.
What book is that?
I'll let you know
All right.
in just a moment.
All right.
Ta-da!
Oh, da-da! That is
Snake Doctor, yes.
the Snake Doctor. Zoom in there. All right. I see the Snake Doctor.
Without further ado,
Yes, sir.
we're going to plunge right into chapter 13
Yes.
because it's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the day after they visited the grandfather
Yes.
to get some insightful information about how it was that African Americans in both in North and South America seemed to be able to battle the nihilism that was bred by being in chattel slavery,
Right.
and how they managed to overcome that. The grandfather suggesting that it had to do with the spirituality that Africans have carried with them all over the world, wherever they've
Wherever they are.
been taken or wherever they've immigrated to or wherever. And I see that as being very, very truthful, because I've known people, African Americans, who become involved with every kind of religion you can think of. The guy was in the Greek Orthodox Church. Sammy Davis Jr. was a Jew.
Right.
Name the religion, you'll find one of us involved in some kind of way.
Okay.
So you satisfied them about that. This is the next day. Akos, you awake? Yeah, I'm awake, but I don't feel like going with you this morning. I think I'm the victim of something called morning sickness. Can I do anything for you? Yeah, go do your exercises so you'll be able to teach the baby how to do capoeira. I love you, Akos. I love you too, Kojo. 45 minutes later, his playground workout done, he loped up to Echo Park Street feeling loose, ready for whatever the day had in store for him. Sheila Buttram called, want to talk with you. They fell into each other's arms, laughing at the absurdity of it all. If you were bold enough to tell them to kiss your ass, they would pursue you. If you kissed their asses, they would abuse you. So now, what do we have? Dryson wants in, now Buttram. They must smell blood or money. Damn good script is about to be filmed. They reviewed the structure of the shoot. Kojo had chosen 2 top-flight assistant directors, Ed Burns and Mac Weaver, to be his wingmen. I'll be handling the main thrust of the piece while they're doing the peripheral stuff. Sounds good to me. That was some heavy drama Granddad laid on us last night, huh? Yeah, you're used to it. He blows me away. Really? Well, it's time for the producer, writer, director to charge off to the office. Thelma, the new girl, have been gathering up extras since last week. I need to take a look at that. We also have to get some definites on the trucks, the catering. Kojo, you're running late. Aren't you going? Not today. Let's say the pregnant woman took a day off. You okay? Yes, love, just pregnant, that's all. Well, call me if you need anything. From the first day's shooting in December, Kojo felt that he was on a plateau of ecstasy. Akosua came back strong after a week of mourning, sickness. Each element of the production team was functioning at maximum efficiency. They guerrillaed their way around, dropping off cameras and actors on the corner to do something creative and exciting before permits were requested and acquired. I learned how to do some of this stuff from Oscar Michaud, one of our cinematic godfathers. The actors and actresses, all virtually unknown but immensely talented, the actors got into the groove. Once the premise was explained to them, a very un-Hollywood-like thing, they got deeply enough into it to make suggestions, some of them constructive. Trick bags were opened and goodies sprang forth. The African village community in South Carolina. Mac Weaver went and shot using a documentary style. It was happening. Kojo's Our production company was shooting a film entitled My Grandfather's Eyes. The moguls had reconnected. Now look, Kojo, let's not be difficult about this. I want to help you put your movie out there, you know what I'm saying? I know you do, Charlie. I know you do. Because you think we're connected with a nerve you didn't know anything about, and there's money in them there theaters. They were constantly being pleasantly surprised. Ah, yes, Akosua, this is your mother. Have you forgotten? Oh, mother, I'm so sorry. You sound like somebody else. And we've been so busy. I understand. Well, what can I do for you? How's father? Your father's well and reading the Sunday newspaper from front to back, as usual. But that's neither here nor there. I think I may have some good news for you. A half hour later, Akosua floated rather awkwardly from her workshop space to Kojo's space, furiously juggling scenes and ideas to the rear of their house. Kojo, can you stop for a minute? Akosua, what's wrong, sweetheart? Is it time? Not yet, Mr. Producer. I've got a little while to go yet. It had me really shook up there for a second. My mother just shook me up. Your mother? What's her problem? No problem. None at all. The lady has put us in a position to get a few $100,000 more for grandfather. What? You heard me. Seemed that a number of the sisters who were married to 100 black men felt that they should get into a matching funds number, prompted by my mother, of course. Of course. So, there it is. She wants you to contact this lady, set up a meeting, and pitch. Mother is telling me that the fix is on. It's just purely a matter of going through the forms. Well, I'll be damned. That's what I said. Of course, we're going to have to do something real nice for your mother. Kojo, we are doing something nice, she said, patting her Georgia ham rounded belly. I'm off for a little afternoon siesta, per the naturalistic doctor's suggestions. Want to join me? In a little while. I have a few things to straighten out, and the news you've given me has recharged my batteries. She sprinkled a wave of her fingers and waddled away to their bedroom. Kojo sat at his desk for a few minutes, discovered that his work energy was temporarily shot, decided to go sit under the Campari umbrella in the backyard with a goblet of San Antonio Red. Los Angeles sprawled beyond the borders of his view. It was December, wintertime, and the air was clean enough to breathe. Really weird that people only think of coming out here in the summer when the place is suffocating from the smog. He leaned back in his chair, umbrella shaded, feeling full of himself. It's happening. My dream is becoming a reality. When he gets to the point where Akosua's mother starts kicking in, you can't get any better than that. He glanced at the green and black coil about 10 yards to his left, looked away, and then back at the coil. The snake. The coil wasn't moving. The snake's split tongue flickered in and out, but the body was motionless. Kojo sipped his wine, stared at the thick coils, black bottom, green top. He made a quick mental review of all the zoos his parents had taken him to, the herpetology books, trying to place the snake's color pattern and head shape. Black and green, what's that? He felt a chill fascination at the sight of the snake, smothered in centuries of ignorance, fear, and myth. He glanced away from the snake to sip his wine, and when he looked again, the snake seemed to be closer. Was it moving? Is it closer? Kojo made two quick decisions. If it comes closer, I'll throw my glass at it. If it stays where it is, I won't bother it. Snakes have a right to live too. The raspy sound of a voice that seemed to come from nowhere froze his blood and made the hair stand up on the back of his head. The only time he could remember having that terrifying feeling was when he saw Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's monster thriller, with Anthony Perkins slashed Janet Leigh in the shower with a butcher knife. "Feed me," the raspy voice said. Kojo gripped the arms of his chair. Oh my God, no, this couldn't be the visitor that Asiafo spoke of. This is a snake. "Feed you what?" His voice was trembling. "A large rat." Kojo placed his glass on the table, edged up from his seat, being careful to keep the table between himself and the snake. "When?" "Tonight. Here." The snake whispered in his raspy baritone and slithered away. Kojo couldn't control his trembling, the sudden film of perspiration that coated his face. He looked around in all directions. People would think I'm out of my mind, out of talking to a snake. No, I couldn't have been talking to a snake. Snakes don't talk. Snakes can't talk. A large rat. He wants a large rat. That's what snakes eat, rats. The trembling gradually eased as Kojo began to reason with himself. It wasn't a mirage. It wasn't somebody doing ventriloquism. It was real. A visitor. I'm supposed to feed a visitor. He didn't say anything about the form of the visitor or the kind of visitor. He thought back to the ragged, crazy-looking man in the park. I'm supposed to feed a visitor 4 times a year. That's the deal. But for how long? I should have read the small print. A rat. Where can I find a large rat? Deco Park Pet Shop. Perfect time. Akosua is napping. Deco Park Pet Shop. 6 blocks away. He decided to jog it rather than run the risk of waking Akosua by using the car. He jogged easily, his mind tingling with ambivalent thoughts. This can't be real. I can't be running down the street to buy rat's dinner. The thoughts turned into a shuffling walk. Asiafo has sent me a snake to feed. He revved himself back up to jog. What would happen if I don't feed the stranger the snake? "Yes, sir. May I help you?" "I want to buy a large rat." Kojo felt a sour taste well in his throat thinking about what he was doing. "This way, please." The sales clerk led him off into an off room. "We keep them here so that the children won't come in and harm them." "Now then, what did you have in mind?" Kojo managed to keep his repugnance of rats from showing. White rats with pink eyes, pinto rats, black and gray rats, rats. "I'll take that large one over there." "Good choice. Rats are very intelligent, you know." "Yes, I know." Should I kill the damn thing? The thought jarred him. The rat was going to be alive. Let the snake kill it. He paid, placed the rat on a large shopping bag, and started jogging back home. I hope Akosua isn't awake. I'd have a hell of a time trying to explain this rat. Chapter 14. Chapter He tiptoed through the house, peeked into the bedroom. Good, still sleeping. He went to the kitchen, cut a length of string from a ball of twine, and tied a noose around the rat's left rear leg. The large gray rat, genetically domesticated, sniffed at the string tied to his leg. Kojo found a short stick in the backyard, staked it in the ground where he saw the rat. The rat, tied to the stake, scurried around, obviously looking for food. So the condemned rat is hungry, huh? He hurried inside to get a crust of bread and a dish of water. What the hell? He paused to gulp a glass of wine before slicing the bread, feeling a little shaky, disoriented. What the hell am I doing? If I don't do this, I'll cut off my flow. If I don't do this, I'll cut off my flow. He stood at the top of the porch steps, horrified and repulsed at the sight of this rat being swallowed head first by the snake. Oh, God, what an ugly way to eat. He packed up, fascinating, feeling as though he wanted to vomit. It was on. The visitor coming to visit him was a snake, and he was feeding it. He threw the bread into the trash, poured the water into the kitchen sink, and sat at the kitchen table thinking about the scene in the backyard. I can't tell Akosua about this. She'd never understand. The phone rang. He heard Akosua answer. "Kojo, it's for you." Yeah. That's enough of that. Time to get back to work. Later that evening, after an afternoon of phone calls and paperwork, he strolled out into the backyard. He picked up the string that was still wound around the stick. The other end of the string that he had tied into a noose to go around the rat's leg had been untied. How does a snake untie a noose from a rat's leg? The mystery puzzled him. In addition, he was beginning to feel a secret guilt. What if I told Akosua that I married her because it was part of a deal I made with a man in the forest? How could I tell these intelligent people I'm working with that it's all happened because of a deal I made with Asiafo? Is it really happening because of the deal I agreed to? He stared at the distant stars, lights flashing, and thought of rebelling against the deal, and quickly shelved it. How can I rebel against something that's paying off like this? But what is paying off? Would it be happening anyway? That was the thought that nagged him. If I had come back from Ghana and jumped on the stick the way I did, maybe it would be happening just the way it's happening. Maybe. The last month of the year found them blazing away creatively. It's like a pure distillation, Kojo, like a pure distillation. Funny that you would see it that way. I think of it like having a baby without any morning sickness, I hope. Once again, the snake came. Kojo was doing his morning workout in the Echo Park District Playground. He was doing a handstand against a trunk of a tree when he spied the familiar black and green coil. He came down from his handstand and attempted to ignore the snake. "Feed me." The snake spoke in a now familiar raspy voice that grated against Kojo's nerves, made the hair on the back of his neck stiffen. He looked around the area for a rock or a stick to throw at the snake, but thought better of it. "I already fed you." He ground the words out, angry with himself and the gruesome situation. "Feed me." The snake's raspy voice demanded. "Feed you what? Where?" "A rabbit in the yard." The snake answered and slithered away. He stared at the disappearing coil of green and black with angry tears in his eyes. "So I'm supposed to feed a damn visitor 4 times a year, right?" For how many years? You're no visitor, you're a damn snake. And I've seen you before. You're not a visitor. Kojo stopped ratting when he saw the shocked, curious faces of two mothers who had brought their toddlers to the play area, 50 yards to his left. Bet they think I'm just another nutcase on the loose. Who knows? Maybe I am. A fucking rabbit. He worked on the distribution deal with the Charlie Baskin Company. He was either going to be him or one of the others. They're all the same. The thing about Charlie is that he's a bigger asshole than most, and that's what we need. Busy, busy, busy. The office and the loft seemed smaller with the influx of workers. The phones were ringing constantly. Kojo, you think we could ask the sister to back off from the PR pistol for a minute? Not likely. She has booked for something other until you go to the hospital. A rabbit in the backyard, back to the pet store. Welcome, Mr. Jones. Well, Mr. Jones, we have the white bunnies here. Great for the kids, and the great Belgian hares over there. I'll take the bunny. Why can't I hide a rabbit? He sat in his car trying to figure out an angle. If I take it to a friend's house, they'll be sure to ask Akosua one day, what happened to the rabbit? He drove aimlessly to the ocean, 7 p.m. He left the rabbit on the floor of the passenger side with a half-dozen carrots, a bowl of water, and strolled along the beach. It was a rare short day, but they had worked till midnight the night before. Damn, what a hell of a crew. They're willing to do it until it's done right. That's the only way. The clear December ocean air was brisk, caused him to dig his hand deep into his pockets. How do I do this? Keep the rabbit in the car till the goose goes to sleep? What? The absurdity of the dilemma caused him to laugh aloud. What kind of madness is this? He turned away from the ocean and walked back to his car, the problem still unresolved. He opened the door and looked at the rabbit on the floor, content, crunching on a carrot, little black pellets scattered about. Damn it, rabbit crap. Now I'll have to get the car back. All of the worrying was wasted. Akosua called his cell to tell him that she was at her parents'. Mother's holding me captive, Kojo. She's determined to feed me some of Dolores's excellent Mexican food and have me spend the night in my old room. Think you'll be able to make it through the night without me? Of course, sweetheart. Don't sweat it. See you in the morning. Enjoy yourself. Give him a big hug for me. With this belly in front of me, everything I do is big. See you in the morning. Kojo staked the rabbit in the backyard and sat on the back steps to watch him for a half hour. He went inside and came back out an hour later, cradling a cup of coffee. The rabbit was gone. He searched the perimeters of the yard to make certain he hadn't simply escaped. No, he hadn't escaped. The string attached to the noose had been untied. The rabbit had been taken, eaten. Following Sister Muhammad's PR blitzkrieg, they were interviewed by magazines, bi-weekly newspapers, tabloids, showbiz sheets, radio. Yes, some people would look at the film as though it was some sort of documentary, but that's the risk one has to run whenever one does anything new and unique. Can you give your listeners some idea of the basic storyline of your film? Actually, there are 3 interwoven stories, and they're viewed through the eyes of a wise old man. You're listening to Family Ties, KPFK 90.7 on your radio dial. And our guest this morning is Brother Kojo Bediako Brown, the brilliant co-writer, director, producer of My Grandfather's Eyes, a film that will be released sometime this summer. This is Rick Sands of Family Ties, and we invite your question for our guest, Kojo Bediako Brown. Aha, I see the red light. Go ahead, caller. You have a question for Brother Brown? State your name, please. Yes, my name is Kwame Sekou Toure II. I want to ask the brother if the film he just spoke about is going to be a Negro-centric thing or a black thing. Brother Brown, how would you respond to that? I simply like to say that the film is an African-American statement, not either one of those other things. Rick Sands winked at him. Amazing how parochial some of the brothers can be at times. Next caller, please state your name. Yes, my name is Letitia Caladifia, and I'm calling to congratulate the brother and the sister for pulling together the way they've done it. You know, far too often we have the sad story of the brother who has made it turning to the white woman as though she represented the pinnacle of some kind of achievement. I've just finished reading a wonderful story on Brother Brown and Sister Akosua in African American Life, discussing the sister's literary accomplishments and the success the brother has been having. I think that we as a people must address ourselves to the idea of independent entrepreneurial enterprises, no matter if it be wholesale goods, films, or whatever. Sister Letitia, we appreciate your observation, but I'm afraid we must now move on to the next caller. Caller, your name, please. Black Jack Knife. That's my name. My question to the brother is, why do you stand on the no snitch rule? Rick Sands, the radio talk show host, rolled his eyes skyward and threw up his hands. Kojo didn't hesitate. Let me answer you like this, Brother Knife. As you know, the no snitch rule was strongly advocated during the Bush baby regime, doing the business with Scooter Libby, Karl Rove, Cheney, and the rest. So, in many ways, it was just a code of ethics that slipped right down from the White House to the ghetto. Personally, I don't endorse the no snitch rule. I think it forces our community into a jailhouse ethical mode, a kind of civilian lockdown, if you dig where I'm coming from. I don't think we're behaving in a reasonable way when we allow bad policemen and the most negative elements in our community to determine what our behavior should be. Let me put it another way. I would gladly endorse a no-snitch initiative if all of the African-American mothers and fathers who have had their children murdered or lost in some other violent way were able to have their children returned from the dead. Rick Sands gave him double thumbs up. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, my brother, but thank you for your comment. Next caller. From the radio station to the office for a meeting with his assistant directors, a quick dozen phone calls to be made, returned. Sadly, the late night that frequently saw them yawning at dawn was coming to an end. The middle section of Grandfather had seemed glacial, but they had finally worked past that, and the ending was starting to appear at the bottom of a deep well. Akosua had retreated to the office setting, doing rewrites of troublesome sections of the script. I could be more useful here. You don't need a pregnant woman in the set. So far, so good. They had pulled the budget belt as tight as it would go. No one had goofed off, and the results were almost ready for the editing room. Kojo left the office loft feeling euphoric. It's all happening. My vision is becoming a reality. My wife is going to have a beautiful baby, and we're going to have a great, profitable film. He made an impulsive stop at Trader Joe's in Echo Park. Yeah, nice thing to take a good bottle of wine home. Wonder what Akuza's doing for dinner. And there we are at the end of chapter 14.
Woo! 13 and 14. That's packed.
That thing with the snake kind of gets to me at times, you know.
Likewise.
Here's what editing will do sometimes. You know, I think in an earlier chapter, I said that the snake was black and white.
All right.
I don't remember offhand. I'd have to go back to it. But green and black came to my mind because of Ogun's colors.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking of something that would be Supernatural.
I think originally it was green and black, like in the Snake 2020, but also in the original it was, I believe, feed a stranger, not a visitor. A stranger will visit you. That's what he told her.
Yeah.
A stranger will visit you,
You visit.
and you're to feed a stranger 4 times a year,
Right.
as opposed to a visitor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, but you know,
A stranger and a visitor.
The stranger is the stranger is a visitor.
A stranger is a visitor. That's why they're visitors.
Yes.
If they weren't strangers, they would be just visitors.
Yes.
So I feel kind of on safe ground about that.
But it's and then it's the second book. It's not the first. So
Yeah.
so a little change, and was if you tell a tale down the line of a group of people, it does change a little bit. You know. So
not only that, I've run into a number of people who've had, I guess you could call it like supernatural events happen in their lives. It most often happens, frankly, with me during the course of dreams. When I find myself, maybe it's the result of the overactive imagination or something, when I can find myself talking with animals I've known. You know, I had a little black dog for a while named Dukes.
Yeah.
And from the way he looked at me when I talked to him, I could swear he was answering me back. Not like you see on a commercial and television, but you know, the expression in his eyes, I was, oh yeah, really? Hey, Duke, you know, why don't you fight that big old dog? He fought every dog on the west side. But we would go around the corner of Roosevelt Road, and there was one dog who laid in the doorway, just lazy dog, looked like a bulldog maybe. And Dukes would walk out into the street, run out in the street to get past that doorway. Years later, I found that it was a pit bull. At the time, everybody
didn't know.
did not own a pit bull. But no wonder he didn't want to fight.
Okay, he knew better.
Ooh.
Okay, well, you know, the intuitiveness of animals.
So that's where we are at this point. I'm going into one of those phases, a little bit like running a 1,500 meter race, where we started off kind of fast, and we're in a stage now where he is heading toward the finish line, but you got about maybe 300 or 500 more yards to go, so you can't take it too fast, otherwise you lose your kick at the end.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
well, with that, let us say that the book can be purchased at Author House, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Your website is www.odiehawkins.com. If you like this YouTube video and these moments in time with Odie and Teacher Zola, please subscribe, please like the button, and please check out the Snake Doctor.
The Snake Doctor.
Ooh, we're going too far into that. There we go. Coming out, zooming out. There we are.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
See ya. Ciao.